Okay, I get asked all the time, does that Hydrowave thing work? Well, if it didn't work, I would not have it on my boat. I can tell you that pretty much everybody on tour, on the Bassmaster Elite Series, and basically every other major tour out there, I mean, it's probably in the upper 90% of guys that have them on their boat. They don't have them on there for no reason. So I think there's times when it does help you get more bites. I think there's times where it makes very little, if not no difference. And I look at it two ways. I look at it as camouflage for the boat, because your boat has all kind of noises in it. You know, you're opening rod lockers, you're closing them, you're doing different things. You got the sonar pinging and ticking. You got, you know, a couple graphs. You got all these different things. You got all these sounds, live wells. I think that the Hydrowave helps mask or camouflage a lot of those sounds. But I have seen many times when the Hydrowave actually makes the bait fish much more active. So I think it's kind of two-pronged. I'm gonna show you. I keep my Hydrowave down here, and I keep it stuck down under. I got two Lowrance graphs. I don't have a ton of room up here. This is just 20-foot model bass cap, but I've got it stuck down here on Velcro strips. So when I'm just gonna turn it on, it brings you up to a menu. And this is the newer, the Kevin Van Dam signature model. And the difference is it's got more sounds on it. So I'm just gonna go through a few of them and kind of tell you the place and time that I would use it. So you hit menu to go to the continuous play, and then you're gonna hit the play button and it's playing. It's gonna start out with, the first one is deep grass. So this is what I'm gonna play when I'm, let's say, you know, in deeper water, in a clear lake that's got some vegetation in it. And then you've also got the volume. And as you can see, if you look down here, you see that's the deep grass, and you got the volume right over here on this side. And your volume, yeah, I'm gonna put the volume up near the top if it's close to, if it's windy or things like that, there's other noises going on. If it's more calm, like we have back here in this pocket, I would have the sound more in the middle range. I'm not gonna probably go much below the middle because I think it's kind of pointless. I'm gonna show you the speaker here in a minute, but then I'm just gonna go through some of the other sounds on there. That's deep, like I said, that's deep grass. There's Marina Docks. That is when the shad are spawning in a marina. I know the actual guy, Gene, that recorded those sounds. Marina Docks is good. Offshore Finesse is one when you're fishing offshore and maybe shallow offshore, and it's not, the wind's not blowing, so it's real quiet. Get Offshore Schooling, definitely. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. Offshore Structure, kind of self-explanatory again. Shallow Finesse. This is, if you're not sure what to put it on and you're fishing shallow, this is a really good setting when the wind's not blowing very hard. I like that a lot. Shallow vegetation is great anytime you're pitching, flipping shallow grass. That shallow vegetation is a real good one. Shallow water power pattern, so you get more of a windy day. Shallow water power is really good. Topwater Schooling, I think that's self-explanatory, and you know, definitely on that blueback bite, that could be something you want to look at, but they also have a different one. There's power pattern. This is, if you don't know what to do and you've got some wind blowing, power pattern may be something you want to consider. Then you got bait Blitz. That's something, you know, if you're in the fall and you're back in those areas where a lot of shad are moving around, you want to get them real active, that bait Blitz is good. Delayed Schooling, it's good if you just don't want to give your location away too much, if that makes sense. That's Delayed Schooling. Schooling Blitz, if you really are trying to get that school activated and you got a bunch of fish there. Surface Bait, that's really good as well when you're not around marinas and you might have some spawning shad. Spawning Bait, that is definitely directly from riprap of shad that were spawning. Finesse, another good, just all around generic light wind situation. Ultra Finesse, that's you know, another finesse option. Feeding Frenzy, again, more of a power option. Deep Bait, That's I really like that deep bait when I'm fishing offshore. I really like that. Crawfish on gravel, I think that's self-explanatory. That's more of a river deal. On sand, blueback finesse, and then there's blueback frenzy. That's definitely tailor-made for those blueback situations when those bluebacks are spawning on those types of lakes. Brim bed, I love this setting. It's kind of a neat deal. The brim get to spawning in the backs of pockets and things like that, and that is a really good setting there. Active pads. All right, you got active pads there, and then we go back to deep grass, and that's kind of where it starts. So now I show you how I kind of put it in there. It has a mount. You can mount it if you want to, but I like sticking it down in there and pushing it up against those that Velcro deal. But I'm also going to show you the speaker and how I put it on my trolling motor. I like it on the trolling motor better than mounting it anywhere else. I know some people get crazy with it and they actually put some on the one on the back and one on the front. But here's how I have it mounted. Right to the shaft, and then there's the speaker, and then you can see it's pointing the same way as my Ghost trolling motor. So wherever my trolling motor is pointed, that's where the sound is going to go. And as you know, sound is amplified. I think it's about 4 times faster underwater than it is above in air because the water is denser, so that makes more sense. But like I said, I have seen so many times when you turn that on, or the little area near where your boat is, like the 20-30 yards around your boat, the bait fish are much more active than they are where your boat has been or where your boat is headed. And to me, it has everything to do with that hydrowave being on and just kind of getting those fish a little more active, the bait fish. And if the bait fish are active, I feel like it makes the fish more active as well. I've heard a bunch of different people tell me all kind of stories over the years about, oh, I was in this area, wasn't catching anything, turned the hydrowave on, and the fish actually started schooling, this, that, and the other. I mean, there's all kind of stories that I've heard over the years. So if you don't have a hydrowave, you may want to check into it. It's a really neat deal, especially if you fish where fish are schooling, bluebacks, shad spawn, in the fall where there's a lot of shad, especially in the fall when they're schooling. There's just a bunch of different applications, but anytime that I'm in a tournament, I've got the hydrowave on, I can promise you.